Yo, what's going on, everybody? You are watching Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, we got a loaded one for you guys. We're going to be starting off with Kyler Murray. Got an update on his situation coming in from Jeremy Fowler. And then what do the Vikings do at the center spot? Ryan Kelly retired this weekend, so do they go free agency? Do they go with the draft? Do they go an internal option? We'll discuss that. And then finally, we'll talk about the Vikings possibly trading for one of the best defensive tackles in the league. Jalen Carter apparently is available, so we'll discuss if he makes any sense in Minnesota. But quickly, some news here coming in from Tom Pelissero talking about T.J. Hockenson, and it turns out it was just a flat-out pay cut by the Vikings and T.J. Hockenson. Now, it was originally reported that this was just a restructuring, but the team agreed to delete the final year of his deal. So Hockenson takes a $5 million pay cut and provides Minnesota cap relief, and now he gets to be a free agent after the season. So Hockenson will be that stopgap tight end for the Minnesota Vikings in 2026. If it takes a $5 million pay cut, I think this is a good deal on both sides. But, guys, this week is going to be absolutely nuts. We will be live here on the channel at 10 a.m. Central Time tomorrow. So right as you're waking up, if you're at work, if you're at school, or maybe you got lucky and you're off for NFL free agency week, if you guys want to tune in, 10 a.m. tomorrow, we will be live for possibly 7 to 8 hours tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait for it. So if you guys could hit that subscribe button today. Also, our bosses challenged us to pick up 50 subs on today's show. So help me out, make me look good, hit that subscribe button today, and don't miss a thing around your Minnesota Vikings. So this is what Jeremy Fowler had to say on his article earlier on this morning, talking about Kyler Murray, saying soon-to-be free agent quarterback Kyler Murray could choose to be methodical in picking his next destination. Once released around the start of the new league year, he'll want to speak to potential suitors and possibly make a few visits. Minnesota will be an option. The Colts and Falcons have talent and quarterbacks who might not be ready to start the season. That could become a factor for veteran quarterbacks weighing options too. So, very important to know, Kyler Murray won't be officially released until 3 p.m. March 11th, which is Wednesday, 2026, at the start of the new league year. Now, we have also seen in the past, like Russell Wilson, for example, when he was in the same situation that Kyler Murray's in right now, he still signed that Monday. So tomorrow, we still could get the update on Kyler Murray joining the Minnesota Vikings. You know, he's obviously going to be talking to Minnesota probably right now as we speak, even though the legal tampering period has not officially started, and technically it's against the laws of the NFL. This still happens all the time. Now, we will be on Kyler watch all week long. There will be no doubt about it. Like here on the channel tomorrow, I'm just going to be praying that we don't get the notification that the Vikings are signing Geno Smith over Kyler Murray. If you guys have been watching this show this entire offseason, I'm a massive fan of Kyler. I think Vikings fans should really be feeling blessed by the football gods that this guy is even available. Like, you messed up the quarterback position so bad last offseason. And now a guy like Kyler Murray is available, former number 1 overall pick, has all types of talent, and he could sign for $1.3 million. The Vikings got incredibly lucky. Do it. Take a chance on the upside, and it's sounding like this deal may already be done. Connor Hughes of SNY, very tapped-in NFL insider, specifically with the Jets and Giants, but he does get some other sources from other teams. And he reported that many expect within the NFL to Kyler Murray sign with the Minnesota Vikings. So he's reporting it. Paul Allen reported that Kyler badly wants to play for the Vikings. Alec Lewis reported that Vikings players badly want them to bring in Kyler Murray. It really just comes down to Kevin O'Connell and KOC. If he wants Kyler, Kyler will be a Minnesota Viking. Now on Kirk Cousins and Geno Smith. Geno Smith was officially released from the Las Vegas Raiders this past weekend. I'll be absolutely furious if the Vikings head in that direction. I understand Kirk Cousins, Geno Smith probably raises the floor of your football team a whole lot. And with a coach that, I don't want to say his seat is scorching hot, but it's a little warm. And Kevin O'Connell, I wouldn't be shocked if he takes a chance on the quarterback where it raises the floor of his offense more than a guy like Kyler Murray or J.J. McCarthy. But I would be furious because if the Vikings do that, it would be a commitment to mediocrity. Where if you bring in Kirk, if you bring in Geno Smith, you're telling your fan base, we're not really trying to win a Super Bowl this year. Because if either of those guys are your quarterbacks, you will not be in the NFC title game. Your max potential is one playoff win, is one gritty, defensive-led playoff win with Kirk or Geno Smith at the helm. If you want to take a flyer and take a chance on a quarterback who could take you farther than that, that is Kyler Murray or even J.J. McCarthy. Kid's still 23 years old. Kirk Cousins or Geno Smith. We've already kicked the tires on that. But there is still a chance that the Vikings bring either of those guys in, and I just hope it is not them, and I hope it is Kyler Murray. But you guys decide. Do you guys want the Vikings to sign Kyler Murray? Give me an S for sign. Give me a P for pass. I've been on this for months now. I need it. I need it bad. He will take this Vikings football team at least to another level for 2026 compared to guys like Kirk and Geno. So you guys let me know. Would you want the Vikings to sign Kyler Murray? All right, let's talk about the center position here for the Minnesota Vikings. A lot of question marks on what they're going to do. Will they target somebody like Cade Mays in free agency? Could they draft a guy on day 2 of the NFL draft? Or they're going to have to replace Ryan Kelly because he did officially hang him up. Ryan Kelly, when he did play with the Vikings this past season, he was pretty damn good. It's just the concussions. And, wishing all the best for Ryan Kelly and his family. Had a great 10-year career in the NFL. He was awesome with the Indianapolis Colts, and he was even good with the Vikings for the couple of games that he did play this past season. So hopefully all is well with Ryan Kelly. But what I'm guessing the Vikings are going to do at the center spot is just Blake Brandel. Because I don't think the Vikings, even though they did clear up almost $30 million in free agency, I don't think they're going to want to spend a lot of money on a center. Like, give a guy $10+ million per year, which is the going rate for a starting center right now. I mean, Garrett Bradbury went for a 5th-round pick to the Chicago Bears. Like, Tyler Linderbaum might get $23 million per year. So you got a guy like Cade Mays out there in free agency. Like, you could go and target him, but you would have to give up a lot. I think they're probably going to plan on Blake Brandel starting at center, and then they draft a guy, whether that's Lou out of Auburn or Pat Cogan out of Indiana. Like, they take one of those guys either in rounds 3, 4, or 5 in the NFL draft. Now, right now, after all the moves the Vikings have made this weekend, this is a rough estimate on my part, but I think I did the math correctly. The Vikings should be sitting at around $33 million in cap space. So they restructured Jefferson, Darisaw, Byron Murphy. They ended up cutting Hargrave, Aaron Jones, Jonathan Allen, restructured Hawk, saved $5 million there. I think they're at $33 million in cap space. Now, they could also extend Brian O'Neill, save about another $14 million, or they could trade Jonathan Greenard. There are a lot of reports out there that a Jonathan Greenard trade may be coming sooner than we think. So let's just say you extend Brian O'Neill, you save around $14 million there, you trade Jonathan Greenard, that's another $12 million. So if you add up, I mean, the Vikings could get to like almost $60 million in cap space for 2026. What will they do with that cap space? I have no idea. But maybe it could be for a quarterback trade. Joe Burrow, hey, if you want to get out of the AFC North, they just traded for Max Crosby. You got 3 elite edge rushers there. Come to the NFC North, play with Minnesota. But obviously unlikely there. But Jonathan Greenard, you save 12. Extend Brian O'Neill, save another 14. I think the Vikings, I'm not saying they're going to go get that big fish in free agency, but I think there could be a bunch of minuscule moves where the Vikings and Brian Flores and Kevin O'Connell really try to get in their guys and just try to have a better free agency than what they had from this past season. But you guys let me know. Would you trade Jonathan Greenard for a 2nd-round pick? I think that's fair asking price for him. If I'm the Vikings, I'm calling Seattle and saying, hey, give us pick 32. We know you were in on Crosby. Couldn't get him. How about pick 32 straight up for Jonathan Greenard? That's what I'll be offering. But you guys let me know. Trade Jonathan Greenard for a 2nd-round pick. Give me a Y for yes or give me an N for no. All right, we'll talk about Jalen Carter and potential blockbuster trade with the Vikings here in just a second. But let me tell you guys about today's presenting sponsor, and that is Factor Meals. Now head to factormeals.com/VikingsChat50 off and use promo code VikingsChat50 off to get 50% off and free breakfast for a year. Now the cold days are here, and if you guys still have some big-time goals but no time to cook, Factor makes healthy eating easy with fully prepared meals designed by dietitians and crafted by chefs. So eat well without all the planning or cooking, and Factor has quality, functional ingredients including lean proteins, colorful veggies, whole food ingredients, and healthy fats. They also have no refined sugars, no artificial sweeteners, and no refined seed oils. And hey, they have over 100 rotating weekly meals to keep things fresh and delicious through winter. So head to factormeals.com/VikingsChat50 off. Plug in promo code VikingsChat50 off to get 50% off and free breakfast for a year. Eat like a pro this month with Factor. New subscribers only. Varies by plan. 1 free breakfast item per box for 1 year while your subscription is active. All right, Jalen Carter could be available for a trade. If you guys aren't on NFL Twitter, the dog was back this weekend. Pretty Ricky. He is some insider of some sorts, and he reported that apparently the Eagles were dangling Jalen Carter in a potential Max Crosby trade. Now, that was reported this weekend. Then earlier on this morning, Jeremy Fowler had this to say on Jalen Carter. With defensive tackle, Jordan Davis now extended. Philly also must weigh whether to extend Jalen Carter, who is eligible for a new deal. I'm told Philly has received trade calls on Carter. What if the Vikings are interested? Shout out to producer Dylan for cooking up this mock trade. But it's Jonathan Greenard and pick number 18 for Jalen Carter. I think this is fair trade value. Jalen Carter, even though he had a downish year for Philadelphia, he is still, in terms of the top, let's say, 20 players in the NFL under the age of 25, Jalen Carter is closer to the 1 on that list than he is to 20. He is a hell of a football player. Vikings are already planning on moving off Jonathan Greenard. The player you get at pick number 18 won't nearly be as good as Jalen Carter. Now, the caveat with this is you would have to pay Jalen Carter. But could you imagine a defensive line next season of Carter, Redmond, Van Ginkel, and Jonathan Greenard? It's a lot to give up, and it's a hefty offer, but I would seriously consider this. Now, you also have the X factor of defensive tackles, especially true pass rush specialists, which I don't want to put Carter into that bucket, but he's definitely a better pass rusher at the defensive tackle spot than a run stuffer. Those types of guys do not have too much success in Flores' system. We heard Javon Hargrave talk about this, where it's like you have such a niche role. Flores is asking you to do certain things. Now, obviously, I think Flores would adjust that for an all-time great talent like a Jalen Carter. So you have that X factor. Then you also have this red flag. The Eagles are shopping him. Howie Roseman's a hell of a GM. They are a great front office in terms of evaluating talent, especially at the defensive line. It is no doubt a red flag that they're shopping him. Now, it could just strictly be financials, that they just gave Jordan Davis a bunch of money. They know they're going to have to pay an edge rusher this offseason. They are strapped for cap with A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, a lot of these guys getting some big-time bucks, so maybe they're just trying to get good ROI where it's like, hey, we could get the 18th pick and Jonathan Greenard. It's an overpay, but if this guy's playing some of his best football, like he is one of the better players in the National Football League. Now, you see these PFF grades, who are they very similar to? A guy like Javon Hargrave, a guy like Jonathan Allen. Now, Jalen Carter, I believe he is still 24 years old, so he is obviously a lot younger than these guys. I would just take a flyer on this. I'm not saying I would do this deal, but if it is Jonathan Greenard and pick number 18 for Jalen Carter, you guys let me know. A for accept, D for decline. I'm having at least a 2-hour conversation about it, and I'm sitting down, I'm talking with Flores. What do you think a guy like Jalen Carter would do for this defense? Because I still, even though as great as Jonathan Greenard is, I would love to see Flores' defense with a true top 20 player in the league, which Jalen Carter falls into that bucket. This is not a guy where you're trading for, name whatever Pro Bowl level defensive tackle. You're trading for an all-pro guy here in Jalen Carter. So you guys let me know what you would do. Give me an A for accept. Give me a D for decline. We'll see you guys later with another video. As always, Skol Vikes.